So there's a certain service technician mindset that one develops or doesn't. I don't know if this is the case with you, but I'm of the opinion, based on my experience, if you have this, this could mean that you could potentially be not just a good owner of your own business, but a great owner. And those of you who already have your business, follow along with me and see if you don't agree as to my logic behind this. So I don't know about you, when I started as a service technician, I was amazed at how much there was to learn. Every day it was something new. It was something new. It was something new. I went back to night school and restudied the theory that they taught me in the Army and would apply it during the day. And all of a sudden the light started coming on. And there was the external motivation. I can remember two jobs in particular. One, I was on a rooftop package unit with another junior tech, and we were there to do a job together. He's on one side of the package unit. I'm on the other side. I can't see what he's doing. He can't see what I'm doing. And I said, "Hey, did you check X?" I can't remember what it was. He goes, "Yeah, it's good." So we did. I did my side, buttoned up the unit, left, and went on. Wanted to get a call back, and for me to get my backside chewed because the guy on the other side that said it was good was wrong, or he assumed or something, I don't know. And somehow that became my fault. That was once. There was another one. We did a startup on, I don't know, about a 7.5 ton split unit on a jewelry store, 3-phase. So the condenser unit's up on the roof. I'm over there doing the startup. My suction pressure is way low. My superheat's way really low as well. And obviously I'm thinking airflow. We used radios back then. And the superintendent for the installation department, this guy, 50 some years old, been in the business forever. I chirped him and I said, "Hey, can you check the rotation on that blower?" And feels like it could be running backwards. And he comes back and says, "Nope, blower's running right." Like, man, what's wrong with this? And I'm still a junior tech, right? And so I had to call for backup. So they sent the senior tech back. He went down. He came up on the roof, looked at what I looked at, went right down, looked at the blower, and of course the blower was running backwards. Again, I trusted somebody else, and therefore I'm the one that looks like the idiot, right? So I got where I didn't trust anybody. I had to do it all myself, but it was beyond that. Were you this way? I mean, it wasn't enough for me to know to take the red wire and go to terminal 3 and the black wire to go to terminal 5 on this relay or whatever. I didn't think that way. I had to see the diagram. I had to see how the electricity flowed. I had to know what it was doing, right? So that I could make sense of this. And when I understood it, I knew I was right. I knew I wasn't going to get a call back because I understood what it was doing and I did everything right. So what happens is you develop this sense of, I got to know and I have to understand and it has to be right. That's a very powerful thing in becoming an excellent technician. Now, once you transition into business ownership, there's a whole lot of stuff you don't know. And there's a whole lot of assumptions about things that you think you know. You think it's as simple as this and as easy as that. In fact, you probably think that because you're a great technician, you're going to have a great business. And then you quickly find out that the people out there that are better at things that you don't understand are outperforming you. They're getting more money than you, and you're having a hard time displaying your greatness, right? That's what this thing's about. But if you can apply that mindset to the entire business and humble yourself, because let me tell you something, the more success you have in life, the more confidence you develop. And a lot of times that gets out of balance and you start to believe in yourself too much and your arrogance becomes your fall. We're all human. It can happen to any of us. But if you'll apply this to your business, I mean, okay, they tell me to use a GP method to mark up my pricing. I'm going to do a replacement and I do a 50% GP and I get towards the end of the month and all of a sudden I'm not making 50% GP. What went wrong? What happens is I end up winning these labor burden jobs over equipment, labor intensive jobs over this equipment intensive. And my pricing, first of all, I don't get the pricing on the equipment intensive jobs, and I'm getting the jobs. I'm winning the jobs on the labor intensive. This makes sense. And I don't understand why I'm not making the money. Well, it's not until you dive in and you start to really understand what's happening with all these moving parts when it comes to your finances. And so you dig in and when you get to that point, just like in basic electricity, you understand the difference between current and well, you understand current, you understand voltage, you understand how to use an ohm meter, understand capacitance and what that actually is doing. You start to understand this stuff, the lights come on. It's the same thing within the figuring out your pricing on your work. There's certain aspects that you have to understand, and labor intensive jobs on a straight up GP will lose you money. This is why you have to look at GP per hour. You actually have to look at your actual overhead costs and convert those to dollars. You can't pay the bills with percentages. You pay the bill with dollars. Okay, that's one example. What about your branding? What about your marketing? What about what you're communicating in the market? What is it that people see when they look at you? You assume, you've seen that spelled out, ASSUME, right? If you've seen that example, hopefully. When you assume, it's just like back when I was a technician, I had to go back and get my butt chewed because I assumed the other guy knew what they were talking about. I assumed the guy that taught me that class on pricing back when I was a new business owner was right, and it was wrong. I literally had to sit down and study every stinking job and figure out what I was making. And then when I made that correlation, that everything was connected to labor. Specifically, that was the important piece. That was the one thing I couldn't control. That was the one thing I had a finite limit of, that the lights began to come on, and I started to understand this thing. Okay. And just like as a service technician, every day I was learning something new. I'd carry my books around, I'd look stuff up, I'd call my support. If it was a carrier unit, I call the carrier tech support. If it was a train, I call tech support. Oshizaki, I'd call them. Whatever it was I was working on, refrigeration, air conditioning, I would call, and every time I'd learn a little bit more and a little bit more. And it made me realize just how much there was to the technical side of the heating and air and refrigeration. And it wasn't until later that I realized how much there is to the business. What you don't understand seems okay. It's just like your customers say, oh, the unit's been running fine. Well, was it? It was operating. For them, finally, as cold air is coming out in the summertime. While it's over there huffing and puffing. You know what I'm talking about. Coils plugged up, fan blades caked up with stuff, inaccurate charge, non-condensables pumped in the system by some idiot. All this stuff that goes on for the customer, think, well, it's fine. Your business may be fine in that regard. Like if you want to get serious about this, you need to take the technician mindset that you learned and developed as a technician and convert that into a business mindset. We're talking about all the aspects that you assume are okay, but when you dial in and you learn how deep these things go and what a little bit of information can do for you, and a small tweak here and a small tweak there can do for your bottom line and your lifestyle, it makes all the difference in the world, because there's nothing any worse than working your butt off all month long just to get to the end of the month and realize you didn't make any money. Overtime and all this other stuff, time away from your family. Guys, get this right. Get help if you need it. Most of us need motivation. And if it doesn't come internally, get it externally. That's why you get an accountability partner, a coach, something that will keep you going forward and keep the pressure on you and make sure that you do the extra things. Life doesn't grant blessings to the lazy, the incompetent, those who avoid. It grants success to those who consistently do the right things. And that means you're going to have to get it straight up here first. Mindset is huge. Apply that technician mindset to your business and see what happens. Pete Ramsey, HVAC greatness. Sorry for babbling, but you know how you get. Guys, I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.